Division CS Eugene Ludovic Wamalwa issued drought alert in 10 counties. This is the situation in many parts of northeastern. We have witnessed mothers and children on the front line to queue for basic need, which is water. The trend of pastoral communities is they always live miles away from urban centers, and the hope is that they will get water and pasture for their livestock. But that did not happen the last 3 years, and this is the situation. But that did not happen the last 3 years, which has caused a serious crisis here. Some have opted to hit the road to neighboring Somalia and Ethiopia to try their luck, but the ones who remain are going a really tough time here. This footage caught our attention. Our people from nearby primary school in one of the water pans, then Lungamake or baboon appear from the nearby bush. Well, very sad indeed. We managed to speak to some of the residents who literally says the county and the national government is not paying much attention.
Hii ukame inaanzika kitambo sana. Hii maji ambaye nakusha hapa, maji ya maka mbili ulibita. Maka ulibita bado ingia mvua haba kwa maji, na maka huu bado ingia ukame ni maka mbili. Hii kitu naendelea ukame maka mbili. Wanyama yote kushatoroka, mahali kidogo kidogo walikuwa hiko na maji kidogo, mahali na shinda, mahali ni mingi, maji ni kidogo. Hiko taabu ambaye zamani tunaona bado fika kiwango hii.
Hii dam imekauka mara mbili ingine, lakini kwa saa hii vile imekauka hivi at least mwaka 11 haijakauka, na population ya watu na mfugo yote imezidi, na vile imekauka saa hizi population ya zamani ilikuwa kidogo na population ya saa hii kama ni mfugo kama ni binadamu imeongezeka maradufu. Kwa hivyo tunaona iko shida ya maji kabisa.
When drought like this happens, what happens normally is the government, especially the National Drought Management Authority, injects funds to support the affected families. But the question is, do people get this money?
So about tuna huduma yote kutoka county government na national government.
County gani?
County ya Tana River.
Atubati sasa tamasiwa zingine. Unaona? Hata hakuna mtu anakuja kuangalia sisi kama tunapata maji, kama anapata maziwa hakuna. Naona tunapata taabu hapa. Tunaomba Mungu tu. Mungu aletee sisi mvua. Naona na hakuna hai tunajua maana yake tuitie hakuna. Kuna haya sisi iko na namba yao.
Na hao mama sasa wanaishi aje? Wale walikuwa wanauza maziwa.
Ndio unaishi tu taaba hapa. Hakuna mtu sasa hakuna mtu anauza maziwa. Sangine kama nafika wiki moja ndio na bibi ndio lete kama
hata nyinyi wenyewe mnakosa.
Hata hatubati.
No reports of death so far, but the hope and the prayer of people here and many parts of the country definitely who are feeling the heat is that the sky will open up.
All right, that leads us to that interview we're having with Samburu Governor Moses Lenol Kulal. He is joining us via Zoom. Good morning, Governor, and thank you very much for joining us here on News Center. Just kindly paint a picture of the situation in Samburu right now.
Good morning to Ashley. As indicated, we've had rain failure now for 2 consecutive years. We were expecting rains during the first quarter of this year, 2021. Unfortunately, the rains have failed, and this has led to depletion of pasture and water resources. Of course, bulk of northern Kenya is pastoral in nature. We depend on livestock. So in a population of about 80% whose livelihood is threatened by rain failure, it is quite worrying. And the indication is that even rains for July, August, up to October will still be under normal. And this has led to compromised livestock body condition. The pastoralists are not able to dispose of livestock. And this has also led into resource-based conflict. We have people fighting over the limited pasture, the limited water. And now the situation has gotten worse because malnutrition rates are rising, close to 29%. And this calls for concerted effort by all the partners, the national government, county government, and all the partners to cushion the pastoralists at this very vulnerable time. This can come through support, either cash for work, enhanced water availability, cash transfers, nutritional support, especially for the under fives and the elderly, as we look upon the nature, cyclic nature, to see whether we can get rains around within the cycle of August, October.
All right. Governor, even as you talk about mitigation measures, just the other day, the Food Agriculture Organization, together with the Ministry of Devolution, signed a memorandum of understanding or an agreement in order to ensure that such counties are, mitigated from the effects of drought. Talk to us about that plan.
We have quite a number of interventions going on. We have a major cash transfer, like for Samburu, we have about 12,000 beneficiaries that are being covered by cash transfer. We have another 3,000 covered under partnerships with NGOs, particularly WFP. As county government, we are doing food about 40 metric tons, targeting 39,000 beneficiaries. So there is support bit here and there, but as the situation worsens, this need will increase, because currently we are targeting a population of about 60,000 with the current interventions. But as it were, by August, September, this population will shoot up to about 150,000. So it means there are gaps that are coming up as the drought situation worsens.
Okay. Is there local community or public awareness? How exactly can they, cushion themselves during this time?
Yeah, of course, there's quite a lot of capacity building, because as we are aware, this every 3-4 years, we have such kind of droughts. And other than building resilience within the communities, you remember we were distributing camels to assist some of these communities to overcome the extreme weather conditions like today. We are also doing a school feeding program for the PP1, PP2 by as county government, partly as an incentive to keep them in school and partly as support to their nutritional need. And besides that, we are trying to intervene on peace initiatives, because as you are aware, this has also increased insecurity incidences as they fight over limited pasture. So there is a lot of capacity building, there is a lot of indigenous survival techniques, but at the end of the day, because of the intensity of the drought, will still require a lot of intervention from both the levels of government and from partners.
Governor, this is not the first time that we're experiencing drought. Year in, year out, we have the same conversation about how best we can prepare ourselves for, drought or floods. How would you rate our disaster preparedness or management as a country?
Yeah, of course, to be honest, we have failed to learn from the past, or it is that we still don't have enough capacity as a country to deal with such disasters. Of course, we are not rainmakers, and we are not to blame equally on issues to do with global warming. But at the end of the day, weather forecasting has quite improved in terms of performance of the seasons. But at the end of the day, sometimes we fail to read the intensity of the drought. We may have a lot of programs, we may have preparedness techniques and strategies, but sometimes it gets beyond us. Sometimes whatever we predict or foresee can go beyond our expectations, and that can compromise the capacity to handle some of these issues.
Then how do we plan better?
Of course, other than issues to do with global warming and preparedness on the predicted early warning systems, I think we need to put in place contingencies, because county government, we are also not able to access emergency budget within our budget until declaration of an emergency at the national level. And besides that, we still need to put resources aside for the occurrence of such the droughts of such magnitude. But at the end of the day, we need also to be proactive. Like the program I was mentioning of building resilience in advance, we are trying to change livelihoods so that pastoralists adopt livelihoods that are a bit more strong to withstand drought. Some of these environments are quite harsh. We're also doing, in terms of water, strategic boreholes, because most of these boreholes also dry up during this dry season, not mentioning the issue of surface water ponds. So it's a concerted effort across the board, particularly on range management, pasture management, and also in terms of these water resources. Besides that, we also need to build up our market system, and we are hopeful that now that KMC is functioning, pastoralists will get an opportunity to dispose of big numbers of livestock in anticipation of such droughts, and we will still appeal for KMC to build up capacity to do offtakes in such a scenario, because we still have a huge market. We only need to streamline.
All right, Governor, let's talk about the timelines. There was a drought alert that was sent in April and one that was sent in June. As a county government, is this enough time for you to prepare for the drought?
Yeah, of course, normally we all expect that we can get rains as normal. Some of these droughts, although sometimes it's indicated in advance, but it is difficult to tell the intensity and the extent of the effect. As county government, for the past years, we've been able to capacity build our farmers. We've been able to capacity build our pastoralists. But at the end of the day, when the situation is too extreme, it compromises both formal and informal mechanisms. And that is why we are urging that given these trends, we may need additional support to handle the situation.
All right, Governor, as we are concluding, you've talked about the fact that we have plans to ensure that, every year in, year out, that this drought is not necessarily catching us unaware or we're not prepared as a country. So then how do we ensure effective implementation? Because most of the time we have the plans on paper, but implementing it is a problem.
Yeah, of course, there are global issues to do with global warming. That one is beyond us. But at the end of the day, I think we need to enhance issues to do with livestock marketing. As you're aware, we still don't have a marketing board on livestock marketing. We thank God that KMC has been revived. This can go a long way in providing market for the livestock. Because if we are able to dispose of big numbers of livestock, if we are able to build livestock as an undertaking, as an economic undertaking, with proper marketing strategy, these pastoralists are willing to offload the big numbers into the market, have the money in their pockets, so that once we get these droughts that are becoming more frequent and more intense, pastoralists are cushioned from huge losses. Pastoralists are cushioned from the stress that comes with these droughts. This can also assist pastoralists to diversify livelihood, get into formal business, get into informal business. But sometimes we sit on huge numbers of livestock because the market is unstructured, because there is no way these pastoralists can dispose of their livestock. So I think if we start with the marketing structures and provide these pastoralists with an avenue to dispose of livestock, this is a good starting point. They need to earn from this livelihood. Then we put in resources to cushion in the event that we have these extreme situations and these cyclic droughts.
All right, thank you very much. That is Samburu Governor.